This is Jacob, the host of the 4th Street Live podcast, and my new book, The Railrunner, inspired by my life on the railroad and being a railroad contractor, is now for sale on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Please go check out my new story if you're looking to escape reality for a few hours. It's a great read. Support a local Reno author. Thanks so much.
So it's like, one, you have to dress like a PTA mom. The other one, you have to dress like every man's fucking wet fantasy.
Right,
Okay,
but
I think I fulfill that on both
Right.
ends because it's lady in public, fucking the
But-
Punisher. Finish it.
But isn't PTA mom what half of the audience is after? You know what I mean?
I think so, because
Yeah.
it's the all-American dream. Like, when I started working there,
Yeah.
Jim was like, okay, well, what I really want from you is the girl next door. He's like, this is exactly it. You'll do. Because I
Yeah.
was like, can I be a dancer? We need to talk about this.
When was that?
I think it was 4 years ago.
Got it.
I called him and was like, can I be a stripper?
Yeah.
He's like, nobody's seen you in 10 years.
Sick.
We're going to have a chat about this.
Yeah.
So I met him and he saw me and he's, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Girl next door.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty much like, you know, like when you're married, your husband expects you to be a lady in public, but then you're supposed to be a slut in the bedroom. So it's like kind of like a,
Yeah. You want to
where
be
do
in that
you
job?
balance that? So I think being an author and then being a dancer.
I know what do you call it? The conundrum, I guess, because biker, not supposed to be an author, right? You know what I mean? Or it's not a common thing.
Right.
And it was like, I like smashing those kind of stereotypes. I like being able to say fuck eloquently.
Yeah.
And not worried about, I don't know, that I'm not fitting the social norm. I didn't go to college.
Me neither.
You know what I mean? And
Same.
whatever. And I'm still just as capable. I don't know. I think that was the big thing for me.
I think that comes with, you know, you're not stereotypical. If you really think about it, like, how many strippers do you know that have actually published a book? I only know one. As long as she's like 60-something years old. I'm gonna bless her soul for still going through it. But at the same time, it's like, you're not really that demographic to be like, oh, you could be an author. Like Nate being like, you could be president.
Right.
Oh, fucking thanks, Nathaniel, for believing in me so much.
I love that.
Here's your copy.
No,
but
I love that.
Yeah, I don't know. So I have to go in betweeny.
Whatever. You kill it.
I did my Barnes & Noble book signing, and what ended up happening is I posted the video on LinkedIn, and the lady from, I guess, Goodles Noodles, one of their CEOs, reached out on my LinkedIn, body shamed me for being chesty in a sundress. And if she would have seen me outside in the public at a Barnes & Noble for a book signing with her 6-year-old, she would have turned around and walked out. And I was just like, so you're body shaming me because I'm big chested in a sundress? I was like, but if I was a stick figure, you wouldn't body shame me and you would be like, oh my gosh, I would love to get a book from you.
Yeah.
This
person looks like an author.
Yeah, but
this one I'll buy a book from.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that hard space between being, you know, looking the way that I do and also being an author. It's like most people don't take you seriously anyways. So I had done a video reach out with Alaska Helped Me. And when we did that, we did like this whole reach out. It was during the Sydney Sweeney thing where, you know, don't like her in jeans, you know, because it's blue-eyed blonde hair, stereotypical. That's what men want, you know, that's what sells. I mean, so Alaska and I did a reach out video during the same time that Sydney Sweeney got shamed at the same time for being busty in a pair of jeans and an open blouse top.
Right.
So for me, it was the same thing, is I understood how she felt. So I did an outreach video and I was like, okay, well, you know what? Like, I will still be taken seriously no matter what I look like. I was like, women don't come in one size fits all categories. We are all different shapes and sizes, and there's somebody for everybody. And if my chest is offensive to you, I was like, that's something for you to sit with.
That is wild.
And so I put that out there. And the worst part about it, it was one of the CEOs from Goodles Noodles. And their slogan is women empowering women. And I was like,
not really.
But really?
Yeah.
Really?
That is funny. And is that kid that is going to pick up that book going to give a fuck? You know what I mean?
No, that's the worst part is you just told him I was good for one thing when you saw me, stereotyped me, and left the room. I was like,
yeah.
But you just taught him that I wasn't competent enough to write a book?
So empowering women, but you have to look like a nerd.
Let
Yeah.
me just not wash my face.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Throw my hair in a
Yeah.
messy bun and sweatpants. Then would you have gotten a book from me?
That's bullshit. And I'm sorry that happened. But also, there's something to be said about, I don't know, the state of the world, I guess. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
really do believe that there's empowering people is just the most important thing right now. I'm not supposed to be, I don't look like an author. One of the hardest things I've dealt with also is being a new author who doesn't have a college background.
Right.
My writing style is not the same as anyone else's writing style, which I want. You know what I mean?
Yes.
My guy is Cormac McCarthy, who wrote No Country for Old Men. That's who like
Okay.
I
Yes.
look up to, and I wanted to write like him, Western-y,
Right.
and like kind of noir. And like same deal as everybody that I've dealt with was like I just don't know where to put you. You know what I mean? And that's been kind of a thing. So I definitely know. And you have an agent, or you're working on getting an agent?
I'm still working on it. I've
Yeah.
sent over 60 queries out
Yeah.
already. And it's the hardest thing, especially for picture books and for children's literary agents, I guess are the hardest ones for you to actually find versus like whether you're doing fiction or nonfiction, you're doing a novel or it's a thriller. Most literary agents, they have what type of book that they're looking for, what their categories are. And to fit in a category of a picture book is the hardest one to find. And that's
Right.
what I've ran into anyways, is just always, okay, well, we'll just try the next one. I mean, I did get great feedback by one of these literary agents. She's in New York and she has multi-billion-dollar literary agency. And she said, good luck. This is a great book. And I really think that it's needed. So, hope that you're able to find the right children's literary agent.
Yeah.
So, that coming from somebody of her status and her background and what she does,
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes for me just because of the fact that means that someone out there is going to be like, oh, this book, because they see the potential that it has, especially for, the type of book that it is, for it to be released and be the first of its kind for its demographic for kindergartners through sixth graders.
Right.
For PTSD and wildfires, that's not something that's heard of,
Yeah.
especially something that's not graphic in images to where it's going to startle and traumatize a child. Because there is another book that's out there that has been written from this artist in Paradise, California. But the only problem is the detail in the photos and the illustration is so traumatizing at the time when I had seen it. And Christian was probably like 6 or 7 and still having outbursts and stuff like that due to, what he had seen. I was like, if I read this to him, oh my God, I can only imagine the amount of trauma that he's going to go through and then relive through such vivid imaging. So that's what scared me to even pick that one up, where this one is soft, the edges are rounded, even though that it has, the fire through one of the pages on there. It's just enough to touch on the subject to trigger an emotion in order for a child to express their emotions freely. For me, when I wrote this, I honestly wrote it for my boys when they were 5 and 8 at the time. And I was working as a PTA mom, volunteering my time in the school because that's what we do.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere. So I was PTA mom, volunteering in the classroom, and I worked part-time senior care. And after the fire, I was working with the school psychologist, just because, my children have special needs. And I was like, do we have any resources for natural disasters such as wildfires?
Right.
Any pamphlets, anything? And he's like, I'm sorry, Jackie, I got nothing. And I was like, you're a psychologist, you should have something. So
And where were you living before you moved here?
before I moved back here to
Yeah.
Reno, I was living in Paradise, California.
That's California.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into the book itself. But first, I'd like to talk about you a little bit and growing and being in Paradise, California. What had you moved to Paradise, California? Did you like it? And why'd you move back to Reno,
Okay, so for me, I moved to Paradise, California. When I wanted to change from Reno, I had worked service industry for a really long time,
Right.
being in my 20s and stuff like that. And I kind of wanted to change. I married my boyfriend at the time right before we left. Then we planned to have another baby. So We were pregnant. We wanted a new start, and we decided that that would be the best area. It was closer to some of his family. So when we went out there, we were like, oh, it's really pretty out here. And it was outside of Chico. So it wasn't really like that party town feel. It was more mellow, laid back, community based. All the parents were in the classroom and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I wanted for my kids, is they would have a safer, more comfortable space for them to adjust in. So that's
Yeah.
why I moved there. And then I moved back here to Reno, I believe 2021, and going through divorce, Emma, which was a really rough patch for me. But at the same time, it's growth, it's change. It's for the best for my children. But also, I couldn't keep my children in Paradise, California after the fire. Um, every year we had a fire that would come through our city about 9 miles from our property. So when your children are waking up in the middle of the night and they can smell smoke, or you have ash going through your house and blowing around outside and the kids can smell it, it wakes them up, or running on a generator, that type of trauma just doesn't go away. It's like a reoccurring trauma. So you sometimes you can't heal in the same places that made you sick. So for me, I just did what was best for them. It was something that I needed to do, so then I wouldn't always be in fight or flight, and better mental health for myself and for my children.
And which fire was it that was the last one that was like, we can get the fuck out of here?
It was the Dixie Fire.
Oh, wow.
It was 9 miles from the house. We ended up getting up in the middle of the night, and there was ash and ember, and it was flying all over the property and down the street. I mean, it honestly looked like it was snowing. It was just coming towards you. And
Yeah.
they shut the cell towers off. They shut off the power. And so you're running on a generator, and there's no way to check and see what's going on in the town. So you can imagine leaving your kids and then having to go down the street so you have enough cell service so then you could check on Facebook and see what's going on in the town of Paradise. You're like, okay, do we need to evacuate, or are we going to stay? But when minutes only count in the type of space that we've been put in before with a campfire, you don't have that kind of time to just go down the street and be like, oh, well, 5 minutes doesn't matter. But in order to have some sort of service, then that's what we had to do.
Yeah.
And then by the time we got there, they were like, oh, it's not an evacuation order, it's an evacuation warning. But then outside surrounding areas are under an order. And you're like, okay. So you get the kids up in the middle of the night, and then they can see behind the grocery store and off in the mountain that there's fire. And your kid's like, I have to pee. And you're stuck in traffic. And he's peeing on the side of the road, and he's shaking and going, I don't want to die. I'm like, it's okay. So you can imagine all that type of trauma that they're going through. And to stay in an environment like that, it's not going to help them heal. So that's what forced all the change for me to move.
Yeah.
It's like, nope.
That one was the worst because I grew up in my summers lifeguarding at Almanor.
Okay. Yes.
And there was a camp up there just up into the mountains past Chester, California.
Okay.
Right. And I literally, it's like my childhood, right? From the time I think I was 11 to the time I was even 17, I spent every summer of my life sleeping in this camp up in the middle of by Chester, and that Dixie Fire wiped out that camp, wiped out my childhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like, and Chester still doesn't even look the same, like that whole town, like I think it's the southwest part of Almanor. It still doesn't look like the same thing. You know what I mean? That one was crazy, and it was going forever. You know what I mean? What caused that one? Do they know?
I can't remember looking back on it. It was a while ago.
It was power. So I was like, power
I was
lines or
going to
something,
say,
right?
I think it was power lines.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that we find is, even with the campfire, is they didn't report it soon enough. So whenever you have a spark and something falls on the ground, as we learned, then it's going to cause a fire.
Especially there.
Especially with the winds and the Jarbo Gap and everything that goes through, in the mountains back there. It's way too windy for them to be able to get it in time or put it out.
I don't know about you guys, but if you have ever been down on your motorcycle, gotten hit, somebody had no insurance, anything like that, you feel like there's nobody around to help you out. But Law Tigers Motorcycle Attorneys is the way to go. You need to get these guys, just save them in your phone if you have to. Law Tigers is there to help bikers. It's bikers for bikers. These guys ride motorcycles, and they will take care of you. They're personally handling claims and will be the biggest advocate for anybody on two wheels. Check out Law Tigers Motorcycle Attorneys and a sponsor of 4th Street Live. Thanks so much. And so how did you deal with it just as a parent before this idea for this book and the conception of this book? How did you deal with it as a parent with your kids?
I winged it as a parent.
Totally. That's what we do, right?
We were displaced after the fire here in Reno. We stayed at, I'm trying to think of the name of the hotel. It's right there in Legends. I was going to say Hilton Suites or something like that.
At the Legends Mall?
Yeah.
The Marriott right there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were back there and, obviously we knew that our house was burnt down. Everybody lost their property. So there was all of these different changes and we couldn't get them in counseling soon enough. And then when we did, it was more like a court-ordered situation for families. So it wasn't the right fit for us. The children were non-responsive. And it was just consistently battling meltdowns, Camden hiding in the bathroom. Once we finally did get him re-enrolled into school out here at Van Gorder, and then his little brother would just stop in the middle of the room anywhere and just scream. And the most that you can do is give them grace for the things that they're going through and being like, if I can manage my emotions and my feelings to the best of my abilities, but it's still hard for me as an adult. You can only imagine being 5 and 8 years old and trying to manage your emotions. And that's what we're going to get, right? So giving them that grace and that space to just be like, I understand how you feel, kid. If it was socially acceptable, I would do that too. But as a parent, the most you can do is just show up and console them. But yeah, no counseling was working. So it was just comfort in providing them just that space in order to have that moment, and then be there, comfort them, and start back over.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
No.
And it's a lot of things happening at once too in your life, which is wild. And that's
where are we gonna live?
Right.
How am I gonna cook in this hotel?
Fuck California.
Fuck California.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Newsom.
Yeah.
The climate change and all their crap that they wanted to blame it on was absolutely asinine.
Yeah. It just came down to them not allowing them to go in there and trim the trees, right? You know what I mean? It's like such a simple thing, right?
Well, some of that, but a lot of it just wasn't reported. I'm sure there's underlying reasons of why the town burnt down.
Yeah.
We'll never really know, but
Yeah.
I'm sure that just comes down to premeditated situations.
Yeah. Well, Reno's glad to have you back, dude.
I'm happier here than there. I don't always feel like something's going to catch on fire.
That's true.
Not always in a consistent state of fight or flight.
Yeah.
So my nervous system has calmed down a lot since being here. Same with my kids. They're adjusted now.
So what gave you the idea for the conception of this book, this children's story?
Honestly, after all of the work and going back to Paradise, I volunteered in the classroom with a teacher that I was really good friends with and one of the other grandparents. And after watching all the things that the kids were going through, it was really, really hard. The environment and the things and the stressors that they were going through was nonstop. Just seeing the grief in their faces and just all the traumas that the boys were going through, I was like, I can't just sit and go with the idea of the school psychologist telling me, oh, we have no resources. Okay, well, we're going to make one. I don't care if I write this thing down in a spiral notebook, because that's what I did as a mother. And I sat there and I wrote this book sitting on my bed while the kids were at school one day. And it took me about a week to finish. And then one day I ended up sitting down with them and I read it to them. And it was the craziest thing, is it was just in a spiral notebook. It didn't have pictures. It didn't have anything except for words. And the first thing out of my child's mouth, Christian was 6, I believe. Yeah, about 6. Fuck PG&E.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So for a little tiny child to say that, I gave him that space, and I was like, that's the only time you're allowed to say an F word. So I wasn't mad.
Got it, yeah.
I didn't care, because that's how I felt too.
Yeah.
But then my other son was like, my PlayStation back. Burn my house down. Just reading all of that to them started a conversation, not only for them to strike up questions, what made them mad, their losses, their concerns, So for me as a parent, I was like, well, damn, that's more than we got out of them in counseling. So I was like, okay. And so I just went with it and I just kept reading the book to them. So the kids volunteering in the school and my boys were my main reason to write this book, was to give them some sort of peace, or at least be able to understand what their emotions were and how they were feeling, so then I could address it and be the best version of their parent, in order to help them, because nothing else was going to except for me.
No, that's real. And what was that creative process like, that week-long creative process? Was it just you had a thought, you started writing? Is that kind of just...
Oh, it literally just flowed out of me.
Yeah.
I changed a couple words here and there, but I literally had it written down the first 2 days. And then after that was just adjusting it, moving pages. And yeah, I had no struggles, no nothing with
What's
this
your
book.
medium? Did you handwrite?
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
Full on.
I didn't.
Paper, notebook.
I can't read my handwriting. Otherwise, I'd do that. But I totally...
It's a children's book. It is an easy read.
There
So
you go.
kindergartners
Yeah,
through sixth
they're
graders, a
good.
little easier to write
Yeah,
for
sure. Yeah, my mom calls that feeling the call to create. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And
It's real.
it's a real fucking thing. And it's funny because everyone gets that feeling, and not a lot of... only artists are usually the ones that listen to that. And my mom calls that, and my whole life, I didn't really have it until, funny enough, that I started working on motorcycles and building motorcycles, you know what I
Okay.
mean? And customizing motorcycles.
Right.
And I'd look at something and I'd be like, it's just not right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that feeling was for a long time. And my mom finally was like, no, that's the call. That's the call to create. It's the call to do. I was like, fuck, it is. And it's crazy because that feeling eats away at me if I don't listen to it now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm same. That's
Yeah.
how I wrote the
Yeah.
second book that I wrote. I literally wrote it in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
I started it at work, and
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, I went off early because I'm going to go home and finish it. And I finished it within an hour when I got home.
Yeah.
So I know how that is. It's like, it's a pull. It's a
is.
creative pull. And if you don't let it out, then it's like you're completely off because you know that you're not doing what you're intended to do.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's divine purpose. At least that's how I feel.
That's how I feel too.
I feel like it's a gift that, I'm sure you feel the same way, that you have inside of you, and you're supposed to share it. And if you don't share it, or you don't finish or accomplish, then you're not doing what you're called to do.
Yeah. No, I feel like that like I even feel with I'll get that feeling with like renovations in my house. I do renovations in my house like a nut job, but I'll get
Okay.
that feeling while I'll like look up at something and I'll be like, that doesn't look right. And then I spend the fucking day knocking a wall down with John, my producer, you know what I mean? Or something,
Right.
I do get that feeling. And if there's anybody listening that gets a feeling, it's okay to not know what the fuck you're doing. It's
Right.
not okay to just not do it though. Create. And the same as you, did not have any background writing except for maybe a freshman high school literary class. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're
And
like, but
had
that
to
was forced. It
for
wasn't
sure.
the same.
It was, and I had to think back to that, and man, my grammar, everything, dude. It was
Right.
it was a muscle I had to kind of reignite in my life. You know what I mean?
I do know what that's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, when we were put in school and we had to do this, it was like, not the right subject, or you're like, I'm bored. But then when it's something that you're passionate about, it's going to come out and it's just going to flow. It's not something that you have to really think about here and there, like changing a word or a sentence here and there, or checking your spelling.
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
always just
worst.
crazy. Published authors, and we have to check our spelling.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Somebody else checks everybody else's spelling.
I think my spelling got checked like 7 times. Then I ran it through, what is it, Grammarly, like twice, you know what I
Okay.
mean? And then there was like, before I published, I had to make sure that now there's like people writing books with AI. So I had to run it through AI so people know I didn't run it with AI. You know what I mean? There's like
Right.
there's a bunch of stuff involved with that. And yeah, no, I appreciate people following that call, or whatever that call to create. That's the people I want to talk to. Those are the people that I know have done something and just listen to whatever. And that's, like you said, it's divine. I think it's something telling you to do something, So,
For a reason.
so now run us through the story a little bit. Give us a synopsis of start to finish.
Start to finish. So it's kind of journey of how everything went for us. So it starts off with obviously the town of Paradise and everybody being happy, and it's all children based. They have their little niche. They're all happy. They're comfortable in their space. It's, surreal, like where we lived. So every place that we would go is very well known to the children in our community. So everything through the book is all places that actually exist in Paradise, California. So it goes from the parks to the school to even us being displaced and telling children that it's going to be okay, that change is, something that everybody's going to go through in this type of situation, whether that's leaving and then moving, starting a new school, some people being able to move back into the community after a rebuild of the school is what I did in here, showing real images that were captured by the illustrator, in his artwork to a T on how he did everything for the illustrations. So it literally just goes through the change and the growth and the strength and resilience through the book. And then some of the children moving back into the community and going back to being with their friends or making new friends. So that's kind of what I did with this book, is showing all the growth and change that children are going to go through based off of the traumatic event, and showing them that it's okay to feel these feelings and these types of emotions, and that everybody else is going through this type of change as well. It wasn't just something that was happening only to them. So then they knew that they weren't alone in what they were going through. So that's what I did with this.
No, that's a beautiful thing. And after you've published this story, was it, I know you've sold quite a few copies. I know you're on Barnes and Noble, Amazon. What else are you on?
I have my own website,
Badass.
JacquelineRhoades.com, and then also on YouTube. And then, yeah, so we're trying to get it more going in other directions as well.
Yeah.
Still a pain, as you know, with that query. I'm
Yeah.
all, oh,
It's a lot. And I also think that like the less I focus on how, the more good seems to come. And I just
I
kind
just,
of, I do, but that doesn't mean don't send letters and try and do it and try
right.
and do that. But it just means I'm more focused on the process and not worrying so much, just me personally, you know what I mean? And good will come. It's just that's just how it's worked for me so far. But I do know what you mean. And this is definitely something that's a powerful thing. And Reno Authors is you were in Paradise, but you're a Reno person. So
Now.
yeah. The people in Paradise, what is their take? Was it received well from your old community?
Through the community, when I did the chocolate festival, yes. And then I
Yeah.
had a lot of other, believe it or not, teachers that would come up to me and they're like, you have to get this book into Hawaii. You need to get this book into Pasadena for the LA fire. And, they're reaching out to our community because they've never been through something like this. And with us going through this already, this would be a great resource for, their staff and for the children to have. And so that's what I've been working on right now. So I have donated books to Lahaina. I have donated books to Palisades. And then I'm donating books to Pasadena this week as well. So doing my best. So I try not to get discouraged on it. I just go where, yeah, my heart and God tells me to go with this.
No, that's a
That's
beautiful
what I've
thing.
been doing.
And like you said, this is a resource. This is a tool because it's such a lot of parents. I think that one of the strongest qualities of a parent is crazy shit happens in life.
Right.
And the testament to, in my opinion, really great parents is their ability to handle trauma with their kids or things that have happened with their kids instead of doing nothing or pretending like it's not a problem, because that doesn't fix anything. That
Nope.
exacerbates the issue. And I
Yes.
think that what's cool about this is it translates so well, not just to kids that have been experienced natural disasters, but anything else. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just, hey, this happened to us, and this is how we dealt with it, and there is a happy ending. You know what I mean? There
Right.
is a positive at the end.
Yeah.
Shit does grow back and rebuild, and it's okay. and this is sad, and it's out of your control, and that's life. And there's quite a few powerful key lessons in this for me that I really enjoyed, which was, yeah, just like, hey, shit happens, it sucks, feeling out of control, life isn't fair sometimes,
Right.
but this is what can come of that. Look at the community up there now, closer than
Yes,
ever.
for sure.
It's
And the
crazy,
outreach that
right?
the community is able to do with all the other places that have been affected by wildfires.
Right. And shed light on the problem. There is a problem,
It's a major problem for California. I'm all as they're learning, and I don't think that, this is going to be the last wildfire. Obviously, we're just going through a new beginning with that type of situation through California with fires and wildfires all over.
Oh,
It's pretty traumatizing, for the adults, but it's really hard for the children. And sometimes we have to step out of our own space of trauma and remember that they're little and they don't know how to get through that. And we're the ones that have to lead. Sometimes you have to take a minute from yourself and be selfless and go, okay, what do we do next? And the feedback that I've gotten from this book has been quite amazing, especially for one of the stories that I was told on, I was going to say Mike's little girl. She's, I want to say 5 or 6, and she read the book and hadn't been through anything like this. And she was like, have you heard about the story of Paradise, Dad? Oh my gosh, it has a really sad middle, but it has a great ending. But the questions that came from that was like, why did this happen? Are they going to rebuild? Like asking her dad, like all these different questions and inquiring was a great thing, because even if you haven't gone through this as a child, you're still going to have questions. And then it's going to give you that knowledge. Like say you have another child that comes in your classroom and has gone through it, and another child just reading this book would understand the type of feelings that they have in that situation. So it gives them empathy towards other kids that have gone through that type of situation in that space. It's hard.
it is. And yeah, like some kids are never going to know what that was.
No.
You know what I mean? So it does, like you just said, it gives them an opportunity to familiarize themselves with why your kid was
Right.
so upset. They'll
Yeah.
never know. You know what I mean? But they can read the story and identify. Have you been back there since?
Yes. So I went out for the Paradise Chocolate Festival, and then I went out for Paradise Party in the Park, and that was before 4th of July. And then I did a news interview out there 2 days before 4th of July.
Yeah.
So I've been out there a couple times.
Is it the same?
No, it's
Yeah.
not the same. It's not as hard for me to go through there anymore because the growth has come back quite a bit. So you don't see as many tree stumps, and it's not as hard to be around. Because when I first went there, it just gave me anxiety and kind of made it feel like I couldn't breathe. And I was like, okay, we need to leave. We're here. We saw goodbye. But with the greenery that's growing back, it's at least a sense of, hope.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can make it something close to what it was before. But I honestly don't know. It's not as many people that live there now as before. So it's still, for me, very hard. Very hard. Yes.
You had a book signing at Barnes & Noble. Tell us what that was like.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
I did my book signing in Reno, and I think that it was a little quiet because there was a giant rainstorm that day. But the type of traction that we got from it was a lot of moms, a couple firefighters. And so there was just people coming up and inquiring about the book. What was it about? Oh my gosh, that's Paradise, California. I can't believe that. Like you were there, you survived. And I was like, yeah. So what's a book about? Oh, it's a book I wrote for my children. So I don't know. I really enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun. I was there with the illustrator as well. He just thought it was amazing how far we've come with it. And being able to do a Barnes & Noble book signing was something that I was very passionate about. Like, this is it. This is going to be so much fun. Like, all authors, as you know, like, you'd just be tickled, just be like, oh, I've made it this far. Like,
Yeah.
I'm signing books now. What?
For sure. Yeah.
So I think the best part for me was when the moms would come up and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I love your book. I'm going to take it to the register and go check out. and their kids, we did print out coloring pages. And so the kids were all there and they were coloring the pictures from actual images inside the book. And they're like, no, we don't want to go to the register. And I was like, they can stay here and color.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah,
they
you're
did.
such a mom, dude. Yeah.
I'm
Hell
to a
yeah.
T.
Yeah, yeah.
To a T.
Yeah, my wife has those like every time we go anywhere, the kids she has these things that the kids can just fucking color. What do you call it? It's like these I
Doodle
don't know.
pad?
No, it's like these little leather patches that they can color and you can wipe them off. I don't know. But
I've not seen
she's
those.
a mom like you. And she just is always pulling shit out
Yeah.
like who would
We
have
have
even
stuff in our
thought?
purse.
Because when I leave the house, we leave the house, we're in and out in 5 minutes. And I'm like, why the fuck takes everybody so long to get out of the house? And it's because you're bringing everything that I just don't care. You know what I mean? So
We're
yeah,
preventative.
you're a mom.
We don't want to hear
yeah,
the
yeah,
screaming.
yeah, for sure.
We don't want them to be like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I don't have this and they need it. Or something happens, it goes wrong and you needed it and you don't have it.
For
so
sure.
it's always a mom thing.
That's mom life for
Yeah.
sure. So you talked a little bit earlier about some of the backlash you received,
Oh,
but it had nothing
yeah.
to do with the story,
No.
and that's what's crazy. So
Yeah.
let's talk about those kind of things that you were dealing with, because it is insane to me. One of the like I just said, one of the biggest things I dealt with was people. I'm not, being a first time author is always taboo to any publicist, publishing company. It's
Right.
like nobody wants to touch a first time author.
No.
It's like so I should have been writing since I was 18 and I should have
Should have had this all
five
planned out.
novels, and it's like there's a lot of insecurity, and I approach everything in my life the way I do being a biker is I don't give a fuck what you think. You know what I
Same.
mean? And so that has actually gotten me a lot better in that, because like, dude, you're a nerd, just fucking publish my shit, you know what I mean? So that mentality has been a lot better, because
Right.
it's like I just don't care. It's like telling Banksy, not saying I'm fucking Jesus Christ, it's like telling Banksy that that's not art, you know what I mean? It's
Okay.
like nobody can fucking tell you shit,
Exactly.
you know, and
Same.
there's an audience for everything. But I'm sure there's other people who are similar to you, maybe have the same job as you, or just are the same kind of mentality as you, mom that doesn't give a fuck what you think, you know what I
Right.
mean? That might be afraid to put things out there. What would you say to those people?
Honestly, I think for me, I haven't been taken seriously for the way that I look,
Yeah.
my body shape.
It
Yeah.
must be hard having your obviously
Yeah.
physical disadvantages
You
of the world. You know
definitely
what I mean?
have to
Yeah.
dress certain ways
Yeah.
to be socially acceptable. But, I've kind of gone this far. I'm like, everybody has a different body shape.
Right.
We are not a one size fits all. I'm not here to make you comfortable because you're uncomfortable with my body.
Yeah.
I am fully clothed,
Yeah.
covered. I have been body shamed.
And
in
even
the
if you're not, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, and
That's
if
what
I'm
I hate.
walking around,
Yeah.
with everything showing, like that is
Yeah.
definitely not me. I am totally a lady.
Right.
But if I want to wear a sundress, and you're going to tell me that there's something wrong because I'm too busty or curvy to wear a sundress when I'm fully covered,
Yeah, it's just crazy.
and you want to body shame me and tell me that I can't be taken seriously as an author, that's when you need to reflect and think about the things that are wrong inside yourself before you would even body shame another woman.
Yeah.
I do not believe on woman hate crime. Like,
Yeah.
that's not me.
Yeah.
If you want to wear that, go for it.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable in your own skin, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's how we should be.
No, that's real. And my wife I got her an augmentation last year. And it's funny because she can wear whatever she wants, whenever she wants, because
Right.
I can fight. So I don't care.
Right.
So I don't, and me saying like, don't wear that out is,
Right.
to me, I just don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And it's definitely been like that, where ever since then, she's had like the snicker. I'm like, what the fuck? And my wife is the kind of girl that will be like, we're out and you look great in that outfit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, that's something I think is important, is like that women value and women kind of thing, and building them up.
Yeah.
I'm not a woman. I don't know what you guys go through. I have no idea. You know what I mean?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, especially when you're trying to enter a professional line of business, especially as you know, being an author, being taken seriously,
Right.
and to be comfortable in your own skin, or to be able to speak freely, be in public, be in a public setting. Am I wearing the right thing? Is this going to be acceptable? But then at a certain point, you just have to remember that we're all human. And honestly, fuck anybody that tells you that there's something wrong with your body,
For sure.
because we're all made differently.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm supposed to make you comfortable.
Right.
If you're uncomfortable because I have a big chest, I'm sorry that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable in the fact that you're
That
uncomfortable.
you're even thinking about it. Yeah.
Well, why are
And
you?
we're just talking to me like a person.
Yes,
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
like,
I get
don't,
that.
but don't devalue me based on how I look. And
That
that's
is cool. That is,
even,
yeah.
I think that that's the same thing for even just being a pretty girl. That's a hard thing too.
Yeah.
I'm all. So it's a lot of
It
different
comes from
factors.
other people's opinions of me are none of my business.
Yeah.
And it doesn't provide or give me any value. That has to come from yourself a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And 100%. It's like people that have the most to say and the most opinions are usually the ones who are the most insecure about whatever they got going on.
Right.
Either aesthetically, which is, it happens, but it's also the loudest people in the room truly are the weakest people in the room.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are missing something from their life, don't have a calmness in their heart when they wake up in the morning. Like those people, we have this thing in AA where you feel bad. We feel bad for those people. You know what I mean?
Right.
I genuinely didn't get that at first. I didn't get the people that are angry all the time and mad all the time and you just want to be angry back. I genuinely understand now what they were talking about, where you feel sorry for those people because those people are obviously missing something from their lives. And it doesn't provide me any value. The only value I have is what I do. And the other thing too is if there's one person or one kid or one parent that has read your story and had some semblance of peace or even nostalgia, you've achieved your goal. Even
That's
if
how
it's
I
just
feel.
one, you know what I mean? And more than one has read it. So
Yes.
so you've definitely achieved what you're trying to do regardless of what anybody thinks about it.
That's how I feel.
And that is a real thing. Is there more books to come? Something different? Is it just, was this an inspiring thing and have you
It
wrote?
kind of started a little effect. So I have already started another book. It's finished. It's already sketched out for illustration. It's a book on hurricanes. So it's called Look Here, Hurricane. It's just about an extremely ambitious child that wants to be helpful with his father in order to help him prepare for a hurricane that's coming,
Gotcha.
and the change that comes along with it, and then the following up of devastation, but then still giving that piece of hope and resilience through the bravery of the child and the element of distraction. But he carries around like this little teddy bear that's the emotional piece through the story. So the teddy bear feels the emotion where the child's just
Wow.
extremely ambitious and is like, oh, we're fine, but it shows the resilience, and the bravery and, the change and the aftermath, but then still the peace and the hope afterwards. So it is the second book that I wrote. It's already done. We just need to get it illustrated, but we're on a hold because I'm still moving this and still trying to do the literary agent direction with this book. So being able to do that first would be one of the things that would help me finish the second one.
Yeah. Have you, and that's a kid's story as well?
It is.
Gotcha.
It's another kindergarten through sixth grade easy read book.
Have you thought about writing long form? Is it something you've thought about?
Honestly, the longest thing that I'm going to be writing is when I put together my biography.
Cool.
So I think that's going to be one of the rawest things for me.
About you write my biography and I'll write yours.
Oh,
There you go, dude.
okay. The
Yeah.
tea we have to spill
Yeah.
to get here.
My shit's gonna be crazy. You're gonna
Do
be-
you really
yeah.
want to know
Yeah,
my dirty
all
little
of it,
secrets
dude.
in
Yeah,
tea?
yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
And then
I-
just change everybody's name.
Okay, deal. You don't have to change my names. Just no cops can read my shit.
No cops can read your shit. Oh, but okay. Yeah, there
Yeah.
might be a couple things that they're probably not going to be able to read mine.
No,
Sorry, Mom.
mine's not that interesting. It's too short. Yours. I know a lot about. I've known a lot about you, and that's why I like having people that I know on here. You do have an interesting story. You have a lot of wisdom behind you. and you don't know this, from people that have not been through the fucking shit, don't have that shit. They don't have that wisdom. They don't have that knowledge. You know what I mean? You have to go through it a little bit in order to have that. It's like motivational speakers. This is why I like talking to you. is when I listen to a motivational speaker that went to college, paid for by their parents,
Okay.
with very little struggle. I'm sure they help people, but I don't relate. I relate to people that have real things to say because they've experienced real stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? What's up, everybody? September 27th is Street Vibes in Reno, Nevada. And I don't know about you guys, but I miss the way it used to be in downtown Reno, bikes lining the streets. It was an event and people would come out. Well, we're trying to bring that back with the baddest little bike show at Revision Brewery. Come out September 27th at Revision. We've got a FXR, Bagger, Club Style, V-Gloss, Chopper, Metric, cars, vendors, trophies, giveaways, surprise guests, and more. There is nowhere else to be on Saturday Street Vibes than Revision Brewing for the baddest little bike show. Come check it out.
Yeah,
You know
the
what I mean?
education lacks that grit, doesn't
For
it?
sure, it does.
Yeah.
It does. I relate more to it. It's like you don't go to a gym where everybody's fat. You know what I mean? I
Don't
want to
tell
go.
me how to work out.
Right, sure, right. I want to know what you went through so I can go, okay, well, if I ever experience that, I know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you do have a lot of profound wisdom, especially for
Thank you.
being young.
Young.
You are young.
I am not young.
How old are you?
I'm gonna be 43 in
You're
2
not
months.
43, dude.
Okay, we'll just say 33. We'll just take 10 years off.
Are you doing street vibrations or what are you going to do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Haven't decided whether I want to do any of that right now.
Yeah.
I think I'm just kind of doing the mom thing, relaxing. Maybe work on that biography.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that'll probably kill my chances of ever being a successful children's author.
Biography?
Yeah. No, seriously, my mom's gonna be mad.
Good.
Everybody I know is gonna be like, she fucking did what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, hey, whatever you heard about me, believe it, it's
Yeah.
true. Go
Wait-
back and read it again.
Yeah. Wait till this one you get an agent and that one then put that out.
I
You
know.
what I
I'm
mean?
gonna have to find
Like,
separate
no
agents,
takebacks.
though.
You know what I mean?
It is gonna be a no takebacks kind of thing. I'd be like, I'm really sorry.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's real. One of the other things I was going to ask you was books you've read that have impacted your life. What are some of the books that you've read that have changed your way of thinking in your life or had a profound impact on your heart?
I would definitely say, like the book that we were talking about the other day, The Pray Naked. It's just a story of the pastor for Summit Christian Church and his story with him and his wife and their journey together and their relationship dynamic. I believe it taught me forgiveness and a lot of things, whether that's with people, relationships, or just that piece between relationships and marriage dynamics and relationships and partners. So for me, I've always learned to be patient with people. I'm always one to forgive. And it just kept my heart open to understanding that everybody comes from all different walks of life. So for me, I'm very religious as far as like Christianity. I believe that, that's a very important piece for myself and for my family in order to be the best version of myself that I can be for them as a parent. I believe it's God, then the family after. So I think that what you pour into your cup, with your religion, then I think that that's what feeds and fuels the rest of your family. So reading that book was very eye-opening just to see how people are in other relationships that you would look on outside and, you think, oh, this is perfect. This is what marriage looks like. And we have some big belief that everybody else's marriage is perfect. And, they've had their downfalls and stuff as well. So for me, it just kind of gave me an eye-opening piece in order to be able to forgive. Especially being divorced. I know a lot of people would be like, don't give him that grace. Remember what he did or who he is. But at the same time, that's still somebody that I loved at one point. He's still the father of my children. And no amount of anything that he's done, I have always given him a space to be forgiven. And I always give him that empathy and grace.
So there's a lot of forgiveness there.
Yes. So I think that humbled me as a person.
Yeah.
So I'm at least thankful for that part of that book.
Yeah, I definitely am of the type of personal accountability first. You know what I mean? And we in the program we try to live by this principle where it's absolute and utter acceptance all the time. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like we cannot control other people, and holding resentment is the most toxic thing that I can do. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I do have friends like that. It's like where they'll hold a grudge forever, man, and that shit doesn't help. You know what I mean? I do really thoroughly like the concept that you're talking about as far as just radical acceptance. You know what I mean? I think
Right.
that is an important thing. It's also, fuck, who wants to just be angry all the fucking time? You know what I
Nobody.
mean? Yeah. And it's so easy to let that shit go. It's just hard to get there to where you're willing to let it go. You know what I mean?
I get
You
that.
know?
But you got to think back to we've all made our mistakes. We've all
Yeah.
made poor decisions at one point in our life. But depending on who the people were that were surrounding us at the time, somebody forgave us. You know what I mean? We have been given second chances, third chances to get everything right, or at least try and be a better version of ourselves every
Right.
day. So somebody took that chance to give it to you. So why wouldn't you give it to somebody
No,
else?
that's
You know what I
real.
mean?
Yeah.
And to have a type of hate in your heart for anybody is one, not going to help you grow.
Yeah.
You're just going to hold on to a past, which means that you don't have that space to move forward. So for me, I don't think that that's something that I would want for myself or my children to see is, oh, well, I'm still really mad at this person. Like, I'm not going to forgive them
Right.
because then I didn't teach them anything.
Right.
So I think that you should always try and move with that thought that you should give people that type of forgiveness and empathy that you would want as well.
I totally agree. And you touched on social media. That's that's yeah, I definitely think like that. Social media is crazy because you only see the Joneses and the white fences and the
Right.
absolute best of whatever. And man, that's definitely something that I've struggled with even in my own relationship and just in my life is to the point where where I want other people to do my social media. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I'll look and like, man, I don't have the motorcycle that guy has, or I don't have the thing that guy has, or I definitely feel like that often. It's definitely something I've struggled with. And just for the people listening, social media isn't fucking real. You know what I
No,
mean?
it's a show.
No one's gonna post their fight with their significant other and how they resolved it. You're only gonna see the absolute best of everybody on social media, and it's just not real. The Kardashians, the
No,
whatever, it's the real shit happens behind the scenes.
when the
And
camera's off.
right, and where you go look is what we're doing now. Interviews with people who get to be candid, sitting on a chair for an hour and a half. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you really see everything about a
Every
person.
single emotion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, no, it's
Sorry.
no, you're good. It's definitely something. To me, social media is the same as drugs and alcohol. It is a form of me needing to be accepted. It's a
Okay.
symptom of a larger problem. And the
Well, the
problem,
one that we're moving forward
right,
in
yeah,
with our
yeah,
children
for sure.
and the
I
new
my kids
generations
are,
after us.
are you letting your kids have social media?
They have Instagram, but
That's different, I
they're just
think.
watching reels. And I was like,
Yeah,
dude, I was like, this is going to dumb you down. I was like, you can't spend all day on this. I was all because it's not real. I'm like, you
right,
need to be in the present and the here and the now. And
right,
I was like, and they just want to dumb you down anyways.
right,
So we conform to society and a government system. Let's
yeah,
be real.
right,
So I think that for me, it's true. What we see on social media isn't the raw, unfiltered, unedited versions of people on a day-to-day basis and be like, oh my God, I am here and let's take a selfie.
yeah,
But then 5 seconds later, you're swatting your kid and you're like, why'd you do that?
for sure.
But you were just on social
Yeah,
media being like,
yeah,
geez.
no, for sure.
So it's not reality. And if you have that much time to sit there and post all these candid shots all day long, are you really living in reality?
Yeah,
Because you're taking that time away from your family and your real day to day, where you're taking that time and you're sitting there. You're like, please go do something. Mommy has to post.
Yeah,
You
that
know
is
what I
crazy.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
that is
you're
crazy. Yeah,
dismissing your child's
yeah,
needs
yeah.
or
I'm
potentially.
definitely, and I've definitely been guilty of that, or just wanting to be mind numbed instead of being a parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like, give me
God
5 seconds of retardation. I
Oh
gotta
my
scroll
God.
in the rabbit hole right here.
Yeah, and I'll catch myself and just be like, damn, that made me feel like a derp. You know what I
I
mean?
give
Yeah,
myself 5 to 10
and
minutes
that's
when the
okay
kids
too.
are at school.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
And
all. Other than that, I try not to because I'm like, I don't have time for this unless it's something for like book stuff. But again, when they're in school, that's when I feel it's acceptable for me because then they're getting the rest of my time.
yeah,
So I don't really post on social media unless it's something for book. But other than that, Alaska does a lot of the posting and stuff like that for all of my book stuff. I'm like,
there you go.
bless her soul, she does it
Yeah,
way better than me.
badass.
Yeah, of
Well, Jackie, thank you so much for coming on.
course.
Jackie's book will be available on the Spotify links and the YouTube links underneath. Where can people find you on social media? You said your website. Where else?
Oh, like as far as social media?
Yeah.
You got Jacqualine Rhoades Writes, and that's on Facebook, Jacqualine Rhoades Words. I believe that's Instagram.
And then you had a YouTube channel as well.
I do Jacqualine Rhoades on YouTube.
Badass.
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. We'll tag your socials on everything. We really appreciate you being here. Thanks
Thank
so
you
much.
for having me.
Yeah.